Hi, good morning. This is some big breaking news and a huge setback for Australia just weeks ahead of the Ashes down under. Australia Test captain Tim Paine has resigned. He has announced his decision to step down as Australia's Test captain due to a texting scandal which happened 4 years back. But there was a Cricket Australia level investigation. There was uh, an inquiry by the HR for Cricket Australia and Cricket Tasmania. But Tim Paine realized, he just recently discovered that the text messages he exchanged with a colleague back in 2017 were about to be made public. And because that news was going to get public, Tim Paine thought it was in the best interest of the Australian team and for his family to step down, to stand down as Australia's Test captain just weeks ahead of the Ashes. Remember, the Ashes get underway on the 8th of December. It's one of the most high profile cricket bilateral Test series in the world. It's the oldest uh, Test series. There is obviously a lot of hype in both these countries, Australia and England, around the Ashes. And just before that, Tim Paine has decided to step down as captain. Of course, this is a huge setback. First off, for cricketing reasons, Steve Smith and David Warner, these two have been embroiled in the sandpaper gate. Obviously, that occurred in 2018. So neither of them can lead now. Will it be Manas Labuschagne? Will it be Pat Cummins? Uh, that remains to be seen. But this is huge, right? Just fairly a couple of weeks, 3 weeks before the Ashes, you have the captain stepping down. Um, that is going to derail a lot of plans. But now, what is this incident about? Tim Paine, of course, came and made a brief statement to the media. Did not take any questions. Again, Tim Paine broke down. He was in tears as he made that decision to step down. So what really happened here? From what Tim Paine said at the statement, he said that the messages were exchanged with a colleague, with a former colleague, about 4 years back in 2017. At the time, there had been an investigation by Cricket Australia, by Cricket Tasmania. Apparently, that's where the woman worked. She has since resigned, and after a thorough investigation, life was moving on for Tim Paine. But before he recently discovered that the messages were going to be made public, and he thought it was in the best interest of all the stakeholders to resign, to stand down as Australia's Test captain. Now, remember, this is another Australia captain who has had a bit of a sad end. This is like everything was set for Tim Paine. Could have been a swan song, probably. He could have gone out on a high. He's been around for a while now as Australia captain, 3 years, over 3 years. Remember, um, but in fact, he lost that Test series to India. He lost two successive Test series at home to India. He was involved in a bit of a sledge fest as well with R. Ashwin back at the Gabba during India's tour last year. Now, when did this incident happen? This particular incident happened 4 years back on the eve of the Gabba Test, or the first Ashes Test in 2017. This incident dates back to 4 years ago. So that has been a long time. But soon after, in 2018, remember, I was talking about Australian captains, back to back Australian captains who suffered uh, this kind of an exit. It's in 2018, there was the sandpaper gate scandal broke out where Steve Smith and David Warner were suspended for 2 years. And of course, Tim Paine was named captain of the Test team, while Aaron Finch was named captain of Australia's white ball teams. Um, it was similar for Steve Smith. It was similar for Dave Warner. Obviously, it was a different context altogether for ball tampering when that uh, when footage of a young Australia cricketer tampering with the ball came out in South African in the Cape Town Test, and then later it emerged. Steve Smith, the then captain, and David Warner, his then deputy, had kind of instructed the player to rub sandpaper on the ball, And both these legends came and addressed the media, made the statements, and broke down, and they were in tears. Remember the video of David Warner? Remember the footage of Steve Smith speaking to the media, and they were in tears. Tim Payne's statement earlier this year, 2:30 p.m. Hobart time, just a few minutes back. He addressed the press just a few minutes back. Was much shorter, much crisper. He just went into the detail. He went into um, a segment of what really happened 4 years ago, the investigation that took place by Cricket Australia, and then after that, he announced his decision to step down. And during that moment, he broke down in tears. He was very very upset, visibly very very upset. This is the end of Tim Paine then as Australia's Test captain. Of course, this is like how does this affect England for the Ashes? How does this affect Australia for the Ashes? Well, look, um, this is a huge moment for Australian cricket because, like I said, they lost the last high profile Test series last year, earlier this year, to India. Then you had them losing to India again in 2018, 2019. Um, so that those were two big setbacks for Tim Paine, the Australian captain. Of course, that was back 2 3 years back. Was a team that they were seeking to rebuild. David Warner and Steve Smith hadn't yet returned to that setup, but last time around they had Steve Smith, they had Warner, they had Manas Labuschagne, who was by now one of the best and the most accomplished batsmen in Test cricket, at least. Um, so there is speculation now who is going to take over. Yes, B Boy is saying Pat Cummins is vice captain, he should be captain, or David Warner. Um, I don't know. I somehow feel it's going to be Pat Cummins because he's the vice captain. He's part of the leadership group, and with such little time left for the Ashes, Manos Labuschagne, a lot of people have, a lot of experts in Australia believe he is good captaincy material, terrific batsman. And in Australia, you've seen the captaincy mantle being handed over to the best batsman on the team over the years, but you get the feeling that it could be Pat Cummins now because he's, like I said, already part of the think tank, the part of the leadership group. Will he be? Will the selectors look beyond somebody who's already been deputy to Tim Paine all these years, just shortly before the Ashes? But again, the national selection panel in Australia the national selection panel will take a call after the cricket board gets on a meeting with them. So this is the big breaking news. Then Tim Paine has decided to step down as Australia's captain over a texting scandal, which happened 4 years ago, and he recently discovered that the texts were about to be made public, and in the best interests of the Australian cricket team and his family, like Payne said, he decided to step down as captain of the Australian Test team. This is huge. This is big before uh, before before this before the Ashes. The Ashes start on the 8th of December. A lot of comments. Some of you suggesting Steve Smith should be captain. This is, of course, this is could should Pat Cummins be promoted? I personally feel it could be Pat Cummins. I mean, this is conjecture at this point. This is just again, it's no point going into wild guessing games. This is a decision that has to be, obviously, this decision will not rest easy on the national selection panel and on Cricket Australia, of course. So it remains to be seen where and how this point comes true. I'll try and get you. I'll try and get you a statement from the statement Tim Paine made to the media before. There's It was a pretty compact statement. It was very brief, and it was very very emotional. But at least you have to um, understand that it was a difficult decision for Tim Paine, but he fronted up to the media, and this is what he said. He said, "Today, I've announced my decision to stand down as the captain of the Australian men's Test team. It's an incredibly difficult decision, but the right one for me, my family, and cricket." That's what Paine said. And he also started off with a background to what happened. He said, "As a background on my decision, nearly 4 years ago, I was involved in a text exchange with a then colleague. At the time, the exchange was the subject of a thorough CA integrity, Cricket Australia Integrity Unit investigation, throughout which I fully participated in and openly participated in. That investigation and a Cricket Tasmania HR investigation at the same time found that there had been no breach of the Cricket Australia Code of Conduct. Although exonerated, I deeply regretted this incident at the time and still do today. I spoke to my family at the time and I'm enormously grateful for their forgiveness and support. We thought this incident was behind us and that I could focus entirely on the team as I have done for the last 3 or 4 years. However, I recently became aware that this private text exchange was going to become public. On reflection, my actions in 2017 do not meet the standard of an Australian cricket captain or the wider community. That's what Tim Paine went on to say. I'm deeply sorry for the hurt and pain that I've caused to my wife, family, and to the other party. I'm sorry for any damage that this does to the reputation of our sport, and I believe that is the right decision for me to stand down as captain effective immediately. I do not want this to become an unwelcome disruption to the team ahead of what is a huge Ashes series. I have loved my role as captain of the Australian cricket team. Tim Paine said it has been the greatest privilege of my sporting life to lead the Australian men's test team. I'm grateful for the support of my teammates and proud of what we've been able to achieve together. To them, I ask for their understanding and forgiveness. To Australian cricket fans, I'm deeply sorry that my past behavior has impacted our game on the eve of the Ashes. For the disappointment I've caused to the fans and the entire cricket community, I apologize. I've been blessed with a wonderful, loving, and supporting family, and it breaks my heart to know how much I have let them down. They have always stood by me, been my most loyal fans, and I'm indebted to them for their support. And Tim Paine concluded by saying, I will remain a committed member of the Australian cricket team and look forward to with anticipation to what is a huge Ashes tour. So he's clearly going to stay around with the Ashes team, the Ashes squad, and but he will not be captain any longer. This is a sad end to Tim Paine, who, after the sandpaper gate scandal, tried to lead a revival for the Australian team. He tried to make it look make the Australian team look a little less gnarly, if you like. But he was involved in a few sledge fests with the Indian team too, didn't they? You recall that incident with Virat Kohli on the tour of 2018, 2019 to Australia, and then um, again earlier this year, late last year, he was embroiled in a massive sledge fest with R. Ashwin, which ended up um, with India winning the series 2-1, a historic test victory for India at the Gabba, a traditional fortress for Australia, for Australia's test teams over the years, almost over the last 4 decades. But that is all part of cricket. That is all the sledge fest that has been typical Australian mind games over the years. But the Indian team were able to get one better over Australia the last couple of tours. But that aside, this is the news then. Tim Paine resigning as Australia's captain because of his excuse me, because of his because of the of a texting scandal that happened 4 years back. Somebody's asking, please explain why Pat Cummins, because he is already vice captain and he is part of the leadership group, and he could be in the role of an Australian captain shortly, because this is very little time. But again, I'm sure even before Tim Paine came to address the media, these discussions would have started in the Australian setup already, looking at who could be the next captain. This is a huge moment just weeks before the Ashes. Um, this is not going to be easy on the Australian cricket team, but there are enough leadership material, enough leadership characters in that Australian dressing room. I'm sure they'll look at some, and of course, you can be rest assured you'll get to know who Tim Paine's replacement is the first thing on Sports Today. As soon as we get to know, we'll get that to you. Well, I'll wrap it up with that. But this is an end then for Tim Paine, the Australian captain, the Australian Test captain, who took over after Steve Smith was suspended for 2 years alongside David Warner following the sandpaper gate scandal in South Africa in early 2018. He was tasked with the revival of an Australian team. There were several ups and downs in Tim Paine's captaincy, losing two Test series to India at home, that must have hurt. He would have wanted to redeem his pride, his captaincy profile with a victory over England in the Ashes, but that is not to be. His tenure as Australia Test captain has ended. Well, then, thank you so much for joining me. We'll be back with more updates as soon as we have some from Australia. We'll keep tracking developments and get them to you, get them the latest updates right across to you on Sports Today. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do subscribe to Sports Today, and I'll see you back very, very soon. Have a good day. Thank you.